Hey, what's up everybody? This is Guillermo Auto. I'm doing a 2014 Lexus IS250 front brakes. This is going to be how to take off the rotor and change your pads out. Basically, you want to get your tire off and you want to come over here to this 14mm caliper bolts, and we'll get these off. You can use a wrench or a socket. And when you go to do it, you might have this nut right here on the inside spin. You could hold that with some pliers if it's spinning on you, and then if you hold that and then loosen up the bolt, then it should pop loose. So you should have to do that, and then just go ahead and get these out and then save them, put them to the side. Gonna reuse them. We'll go ahead and get the bottom one out too. Alright, so we got these. Now you can wiggle this caliper off. It might be a little tight, and then what I do is I place it over the knuckle like this so it's rested and it's not going to stretch and not be in the way, so it's just out of the way. Slide your pads out, just kind of wiggle them free. Notice this shim has a circle on it, that's the inside, and then when I take this one out, notice this shim has this like two marks on the top. Alright, so let's get this brake caliper bracket off. It's 17mm bolts. There's two of them. And we'll go ahead and get these out, and you'll be able to get the brake caliper bracket off. Go ahead and get these. You can get these off with a wrench or a socket. They'll be a little bit more tighter than your caliper bolts because they're bigger and they're just torqued a little more. And I'll put torque specs on the end of the video if you're wondering. So go ahead and get these out. And this was another 17mm, so you have two. Set those aside. We're going to reuse them again. Slide your caliper bracket off, and then if you're going to get your rotor off, it might kind of be stuck on there. You could run a bolt right here to get it off. They usually have two threaded holes. You could run a bolt down, and the bolt will push off the hub and pull the rotor off. So I'll show you what I mean. I got a little bolt in here, and I'm just going to tighten it down. It's a general size. If you have a bolt laying around your garage, you might be able to fit it. And this will just come off. You could clean your hub up if you want, a little off the rust. But I'm going to resurface my rotor with an on-the-car brake lathe. You could take yours to like auto repair store to get it resurfaced, or a shop. Or if you're getting new ones, you don't have to worry about that. You can just put the new ones on. What I do with this is I clean up the grime and the rust, off these pathways, and I pop the pins out and I wipe all the old grease off and I put new grease on them. It's important that you get these pins pulled out and lubed up. You can just use, any kind of braking lubricant. Go and put it in the hole, or you could coat the pin. This pin with the black part goes on the bottom. It has a black rubber tip. Here's my OEM pads part number. This is from Lexus. These are Lexus pads, or the Toyota pads, but I got them from Lexus. We're going to switch these shims over. If you have aftermarket pads, they might already have shims on them. You don't have to do this part. But basically, you just pop them off. There's usually two. Put the black part on there first, and then put the silver part on top. They have little slots that they go into. I use this stuff called Rusty. That's what we use at the dealership. It would kind of put it between the shims to kind of hold them together, and it helps them dissipate heat, and it helps keep them together. So they go together like that. If you don't have any, then just work with what you got. And yeah, like I said, they have little spots that they go into, so make sure you get them in the spots. You could bend the little tabs if they're falling off the brake pad. But yeah, so what I also do is I lube the little ears of the pads where the pad is going to travel in its path, so it doesn't rub on any of the metal hardware in the brake caliper bracket. Alright, so I got it all set up. Now let's go ahead and got my resurfaced rotor. Get my caliper bracket back on. Screw these in. Alright, get those good. Got those good. Get them tight. And now I'm going to get my pads in. Remember, this pad goes on the inside. Just because it has the shim with the inner pad mark on it. Get yourself one of these to compress the piston, or you could, maybe Google a way how to compress a piston if you don't have a tool. Some people use like giant channel locks just to squeeze it shut. But yeah, definitely you got to get that compressed just like this. And then we just slide this on, make sure not to twist your brake line up. put your caliper bolts back in, tighten them down. And again, if that nut's moving when you're trying to tighten them down, hold the nut. Make sure this isn't twisted. It's easy to get these twisted and kinked. And that's it, guys.